God, we are grateful today. We are so grateful that you allow us to be in your presence today. We are just simply grateful, God, that you allow us to be 6 feet up today. God, we just want to say thank you. In spite of what our week has been, and then we want to say thank you for the present. Somebody just tell God, I love you. Because of you.
Yes, God. Yes, I love you. Amen.
You may be seated.
Amen.
If you would, go ahead and look to your neighbor and just tell them, I agree.
I agree.
You do look good.
You do look good.
Then respond with, yes, I know. Yeah, we all look good in here today, so we're just excited about being here today.
Amen.
So we thank Pastor and First Lady, Executive Pastor, for the opportunity to present the word to you today. I told Executive Pastor that today will probably be the shortest message you ever hear from me. And then she rebutted back with, if you want to get up there again, think about it. So, still today may be the shortest message you ever hear. But let's just see what God says about it. The title today that we're going to use is simply knowing who God is. We're going to start this topic and this journey off with 3 different people. Can I get 3 different people? 3 adults. Don't run, hurt yourself all at the same time. Okay, I see 2. And I got a 3rd. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm just going to ask you one question, answer with 1 word. Okay? 3 different questions. So when I look at you, you answer that question with a yes or a no. All right? So do you know who Allen Iverson is?
Yes.
All right? Do you know who Carson Wentz is? Good. Okay? Do you know who former President Barack Obama is? Good. All right? Appreciate that. That's it. Not too hard. Nothing special. Now, the reason why I asked these 3 individuals, do they know who these individuals is? Because I want everybody to realize today there is a difference between knowing God and knowing of God. See, when I asked these 3 individuals, did they know that person? The answer should have been simply no. They don't know any of those individuals, but they know of them. Allen Iverson. You ain't kicking it with him, man. You don't know him like that. Carson Wentz, you may watch him on TV, but you don't know that man. Barack Obama, sure, we have seen him all several times, but do we really know him? No. So we just need to make sure we understand that that's a lot. We do this a lot. We make the mistake of thinking that we know somebody that we really don't know. Today we're just talking about simply knowing who God is. Not just knowing about God, but knowing who He is. I was supposed to have a Toyota hat up here, but it's not up here. But nevertheless, somewhere back in the back. But 17 years ago, my first car was a Toyota Tercel. My baby broke down on me every single day. I would get to school, finally driving, cool. In the school, all the buses will leave before me because what? I'm under the hood, trying to run a couple of wires, trying to jump it, trying to figure out how to get this joker to start. So that was my baby, my first heart, my first love. So now from there, it was 16 years later, quote unquote, before I even purchased another Toyota. Right? So now a few years back, I worked for this company named Crash Food Service. And they had these new Toyota Tundras. And I was like, man, I like this joker. One day I'm going to get me one. Right? So now all these years passed by. I never took the time to find out, hey, how much do these trucks really cost? What are the features? What do they have? What's going on with this truck? Time passed, and I finally decided to act on it. So I went to the dealership, and the guy said, you want to test it? I said, no, let me just look in it. He said, man, it does something. I said, doesn't matter, man. Let's just go in here and sign. And then he was like, hey, you know, they really want you to test drive these different things. And I was like, well, I don't need to test drive it. I already know I want it. Now, this is a want from way back. I didn't do any legwork, didn't figure out anything that's going on. And so I just shared that story is because sometimes today, we are like the 17-year-old Toyota Tercel. Our relationship with God, we still think we're familiar with Him from 17 years ago. See, some of us, it may not have been 17, it may have been 5 years ago, 4 years. But we're still operating as if we have the same relationship back then as we do now. I purely brought that truck because of what I knew it could do years ago. But what about what's going on currently?
Right.
You say, AP, what I found out is that God is the same yesterday and as today. Well, you are absolutely right. But here's the kicker. We are not the same. We change every day and every year. So let's re-examine this for a second. 17 years ago, I was able to get in and just get on the manual and shift gears easily, right? So now, years later, you get a little older, you don't feel like shifting any gears anymore. The joints started coming in a little, I don't want to get on that hill and just got to sit tight for so long. Different things start happening and you no longer want to do that same thing. So let's just keep on going. Back then, we used to sit in the car and we'll reach over and turn the volume up, right? So now we have got accustomed to just right at our steering wheel, easy access, up, down. We can control several things now. Why? Because things are not the same. Back then, we was able to get in the car. Hey, they don't care if the heat's on. It's cold outside. Let's get this joker go. Now, hey, if you got a significant other, you're like, hey, can you cut the, hey, babe, start that up, please. Cut the heat on. Cut the defrost on. Let's use the automatic starter. Let's get this joker circulating some heat. And those who are special that have vehicles that have the heated seats, you get in there and say, oh, thank God. This feels good. Can't do anything without the heated seats. Now, why is those things like that? Because things change. What also has changed? Back then, you may not have gray hair, but today you may. Well, at least some of us, I'm not naming any names, but just some of us may do. You know, some of us, if we keep it real, we were smaller back then and now we're larger. Now, I'm not saying nothing's wrong with the extra meat. I'm just simply saying that you did not remain the same. So why are we still trying to attack our relationship or what we thought we had knowing God 17, 15, 12, 10 years ago, the same as today? That is something we should renew continuously, that identify who this guy really is. And the knowing of who he is something that we should continue to build. The more seeking we do of who he is, the more we find out what's really inside of us. We heard that the scriptures say he made us in the image of. What image of? If you don't know who he is, what image were you made of? It is important to know who he is so you can self-identify who you are.
Amen.
Let's go back to the gospel. You behind. Oh, behind. Well, I see catching up. See, quick sidebar. When I'm over there at First Lady, like, oh, you cartel, you didn't keep up, you didn't have the right slide, I was here. You don't even have my title up there. I gave her information. I don't even see what I gave her. No. So, pretty much, executing faith. Let's face it, at some point in time, learning and developing a relationship with God, you must at some point in time, tell your neighbor, some point of time, you must execute faith at some point in time. All right, First Lady, can you please go to Mark? We're going to be going to Mark chapter 8, verse 6 through 9. And so Jesus told the crowd to sit down on the ground. After giving thanks, he took the 7 bread loaves, broke them into pieces, and gave them to his disciples, so they could hand them out to the crowd. They also had a few fish. He pronounced a blessing over the fish and told his disciples to hand them out as well. The crowd ate it, filled. 7 sacks of leftovers were collected. There were well over 4,000 at the meal. Well over 4,000. So the key, we're just going to highlight real quick. 7 loaves and a few fish fed what? Over 4,000. So one key element we want to make sure we identify today that you must know about having a relationship with Jesus and his Father God is that what appeared to be chaos surrounded by a mind-boggling event is actually a small pebble in his sight. Read it one more time. That what appeared to be chaos surrounded by a mind-boggling event is actually a small pebble in his sight. Simply what it's saying, it's big to you, small to him. What's big to him is nothing. Everything seems to be big to us, but what's big to him is absolutely nothing. When you understand who Jesus is and his Father, and you start attacking different things with what's big to him is nothing, then you start to develop something inside of you a little bit of different of how you attack it. You start actually going to the job knowing that you won.
Amen.
You go inside of the circumstances, in the midst of the storm, knowing that, hey, this is what it seems to appear like right now, but in his sight, it's just a small pebble, and I already won.
All right. Amen.
So God has the ability to do things instantly and also in stages. We're going to journey down to Mark chapter 8, verse 22 through 26. We're just going to skip a couple of parts of that. We're just going to start with the part that says, some people brought a sightless man and begged Jesus to give him a healing touch. Taking him by the hand, he led him out of the village. He put spit in the man's eyes, laid hands on him, and asked, do you see anything? He looked up, I see, man, they look like walking trees. So Jesus laid hands on his eyes again. The man looked hard and realized that he had recovered perfect sight, saw everything in bright 20/20 focus. Now, let's just look at that. So, there are several cases where Jesus did miracles and people was healed instantly. They received their blessing instantly. But in this case, it was rendered in a stage. Now, the stage didn't take a long time. It was real close together, but it was still done in stages. See, it was not that the man was blind and could not see. What he could see is he couldn't discern the images. He said it looked like trees walking. He didn't know what was the difference between what he saw. See, when maybe a few years ago, I got LASIK surgery, right? So now I have 20/20 vision. Now when I went there and got this surgery, I just laid down. The doctor said, hey, it's not going to be long, 10, 15 minutes, you'll be out of here. I said, great, sounds good, man. You know, sounds like a plan. So he did his thing, and then he said, I'm going to count down to 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then everything went black, right? 4 seconds later, it started to come back. See, my vision wasn't fully restored at that moment. All I could see was trees just walking. Everything looked like trees walking. But few seconds later, my vision was completely restored. So the same process that Jesus did back then is still happening now, but he's given man the ability to do it. See, if you know about what he's done before, you know what he can do again. Amen. That same bill that you had lacking before, that you 360 turned around and still lacking, it's the same bill he can help supply again. So the reason why it did it in stages with my eyes it was a glimmer of light being first is that my optic nerves can grow and be accustomed to the exposure of light. That's the reason why it came back in the stages, so that it wouldn't all come at me at once. See, some of us, if God did everything you wanted all at once, you would never even look for him.
Amen.
Yeah. You would never call him out. Yeah. You would never say, God, I need you. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of us feel like we don't need anybody when everything's going good. It's usually when something is going wrong that we get active. You hear it all the time. Oh, did you talk to God? Well, did you talk to God the week before when everything was good? Oh, no, you didn't talk to him then. You didn't mind. You didn't mind what was going on. It was all going good. Everything was taken care of, so you didn't need him. So we have to get ourselves constantly reminded that we need him every day. So, the quarterback job in football is to do what? Take that football that's given to him and try to get all the way down at the end of the field, right? So now the receiver job is to be in a position where he's able to receive. See, a lot of us are the receivers. See, Jesus is the quarterback, right? Yeah. A lot of us are receivers. Jesus is stepping back, dropping, and this is what we're doing. We're running the route, and then he's throwing it, and we this. We ran the route, he done threw it. Instead of being out here, looking, we're here. See, when you're a receiver and you're looking to be able to receive the ball, once you burn your guy, you're now looking back. You want to make contact with what is that about to render you a blessing. Some of you are sitting there always trying to figure out why the neighbor has this, why I don't have that. You never have put yourself in the right position to receive. They already put themselves in a position to be able to receive. It doesn't matter if they go to church or not. What they did was they burnt the man and looked back. So what he did was he delivered. See, the God, our God, does the same old thing. He comes through. Yes. So if you already know his rate is 4 out of 4, 100 out of 100 every time, then you got to start saying, okay, what am I doing? Why am I turning left and I need to turn right and stick my hands out? See, he don't mind us turning left. Even if we turn left and look back, he'll say, my child, you're going the wrong way. He will start repositioning you in the right angle, the right lane to be able to receive. But if you are sitting there with blinders on, you will never be able to receive what God is doing. Yes. So first, if you don't know who he is, you can't get anything. You can't walk up to me and I don't know who you are and get something every time. Yes, you may be able to get something from me here and there. But it's when I know you that you're able to come to me and get it every single time. If I call Adam and say, hey man, I need such and such a, he's going to say yes. He better say yes. I mean, see, that's the next thing. We got to expect God to be saying yes, meaning we got to expect God to be able to throw the ball. If we're not expecting God to throw it, we can never catch the blessing. Amen. I call Brother Oliver, he's going to say yes. To me, it doesn't matter what it is, the answer should be yes. Now, with logic and sense, man has to actually sit there and cipher if they're capable. But see, the God we serve does not ever have to cipher if he's capable. He simply knows he can do it. So if he simply knows that he can do it, all we have to do is line ourselves up in the right position and then receive. God, throw it. Last year, that car broke down. This year, God, I'm in the right position. Throw it. Doesn't matter what sports you want to reference. Get open and he'll get you the ball or whatever it is that it is. So you just got to make sure that you continue to put yourself in a position where God can use you.
Amen.
See, here's the thing, what a lot of people like to do. We like to say, Pastor, give us a healing. Pastor, pray for us. Please pray for us. Right? So then the pastor prays for you. Okay? So now it's Sunday. Now we're on Tuesday. Oh, God, that left foot. I thought you did something for me. I thought you said you healed me. Now, listen to this. The healing took place years ago, right? So the manifestation is what we're depending on, right? So when you really dive into it, what has really happened? If the healing was already there, and the pastor prayed for God to release it for it to manifest, then who's blocking? Maybe it's you, because on Tuesday, 2 days later, after you so-called was healed, thank you, Pastor, hallelujah, you start doubting already. So it's a mentality. So what you should be saying to God, see, this is how you know when you know that you fully 100% rendered until what he's doing. When you got prayed for and you 100% let go, this is what happens. Tuesday comes. Here's me. Hey, gosh almighty, this foot hurt. But God, I'm grateful you gave me a right foot. See, this is the mindset that you have to have. God, my right arm is killing me. Oh my goodness, it hurts. But God, thank you for making me a lefty. So I'm still able to drive it right. See, when you keep on depending and talking about complaining, speaking about what's occurring without the God, thank you, what you're doing is saying, God, I was joking. I don't think that you actually could heal me. So let's apply it to any situation. God, I need. You need. But when he offers, what do? You go spend the money. Oh man, that burger. Whew. Number 10. Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, Hardee's, Subway, any of those restaurants. But yet you was just complaining about needing 10, 12, 15, 20, whatever it may be, $50 for a bill, and you done spent 10 of it eating when you had something in the house. It's all about the mental state of what we decide when we decided. So if you really knew who he was, then you wouldn't even think that way. You would think simply that the symptoms has arisen on Tuesday. They may be gone by Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, or whenever they go, God. But until then, keep me. See, that's all you got to say to God. God, I'm grateful, but while this is still existing, keep me. Amen. In the middle of whatever the storm, just shout, oh God, I am grateful, but still keep me.
Amen.
It's the keeping that allows you to still overcome the obstacles.
Yes.
But it allows you to still go through them, which allows you to render the next level after you've done gone through it.
Amen.
See, now back in the days, we used to have our grandparents who used to tarry and toil and everything at the altar all day long. See, now these days, we're not saying that you have to still do that, but here's the significant thing that happened back then with them. By doing that for so long, they developed a relationship with Jesus and God. Because they actually knew who he was. Why? Because you spent time with him. It's real simple. The more you spend time with somebody, the more you start to learn about them.
That's right.
See, when I first married Kimberly, I had to realize, hey, don't eat seafood around her because it would tempt her to actually harm her. So don't eat seafood because she can't have certain seafood, shells and such of that nature. I would never learn that if I never spent the time with her. What did I learn after? Good gosh, this woman snores. Right? That's what I learned. The second thing I learned, she snores. Now, keep in mind, there are some things she realized about me as well. I give you one key. When I wake up, the eyes get bigger. You say, man, how your eyes get? Oh, just see me in the morning. They're quite bigger. See, the thing is, we learn different things about different individuals by what? Relationships or spending time. So all we simply talking about here is let's come together and not decide that, hey, what I was told about God from my grandmother back then is all that exists. See, she had a relationship that you ain't got to. So you can't really tap into what she really knew about God back then because you haven't exercised the understanding of learning who he is right now.
Amen.
You have to be willing to take the time to find out who this man is because knowing him allows you to truly know yourself.
Amen. Amen.
So, now, that's just a story of how great he is. See, now, there's this GameStop card that I had got Brother Dennis to trade in some stuff for me and get it and everything, and I was going to get my son something back when he was good. Kiki, back when he was good. We was going to get, but this happened one day. But, so, he traded in the stuff, yada, yada, gave me this card, and I said, okay, I'll go get this thing for my son and everything. And then I went looking for the card, couldn't find the card. I was like, oh my goodness. What was it, like $300 or something? $290, $278, $400. Oh my goodness. Oh, flashback. Okay. So I looked. I could not find this card. I looked. Now here it is 3 months later. 2 nights ago, I'm in my office. Now I done checked in this office at least, no exaggeration, at least 57 times. I got real OCD with that office. Really bad, really looking. This ain't it. Everything. Never found it. Looked down by my left foot, which was hurting, but God, I'm grateful that the right one is good. Looked down, the card was sitting right on the ground. 2 minutes later, I found the receipt. I done spent this whole 3 months or whatever it was looking for this card, and I would say probably about the second week, I think I let it go. I didn't let it bother me, but I still continue to look for it. Sometimes, see, here's the thing again. Sometimes he do what? God has the ability to render us things instantly or what? In stages. See, he knew back then that I needed something like that on the other day. Again, in the midst of the chaos, God surrounded me with a blessing of something that I have been looking for so long that gave me some peace and joy for that moment. See, knowing who he is, having a relationship with him allows him to do things for you that nobody else can do.
Amen.
But let's just keep it real.
Yes.
He is not going to do everything for you when you aren't doing anything for him.
All right.
You don't even know how to identify who he is. But yet you're wondering, how do they have? Why don't I have? So, moving along, that was that day. Then Wednesday, what was it? Okay, so Wednesday I was driving home, and then, now I drive the same route all the time, and I'm driving. There go the cop. Oh, what am I doing? 75. Okay, why are you doing 75? Okay, but I'm doing it. And so, he cuts his lights on, and I say, man, you gonna get me today, huh? Man. So, I'm slowing down. I'm looking. The eyes are going in motion, 360 mode. And I never see him come. All he did was cut the lights on till identified to me that, hey, you're over here on the left lane. You need to go right and look back and receive the blessing. See, again, when you have a relationship with him, he would give you signs, do things in stages, work out a way when you say, man, simply put, I should have got a ticket. They should have got my money, which I need, by the way. But they should have got my money. So that was then, and then you say, oh my goodness, God, but thank you. See, when you identify God working for you, immediately follow up with a God, thank you.
Amen. Yes.
Immediately follow it up with a God, thank you, and watch the next thing come a little bit faster.
Yes.
Why? Because now he recognized that boy know how to run that dog. He ain't turning left anymore, he's actually turning right.
Yes.
So now the next blessing can come just a little bit quicker. So then 2 days later, I'm going down the street. I went to actually meet Taylor real quick to get my labels. And on the way back, I got pulled over. Now, this was in the spare vehicle I got pulled over this time. The other day it was in the truck. You know, the one that I didn't know about, but I got based off the features way back then. So I'm driving, he pulled me over. And I said, man, I wasn't speeding. I was actually near your house. Not too far from your house, at that gas station right there. And I was like, why is he pulling me over? Man, they keep trying to get me. Right? So, you know, now I'm keeping in mind, I had 100 other things running in the head and everything, but I just sat there and everything. So he came, so you know why I pulled you over? I said, no, I don't know. Think I look good? What you think, man? What you think? He said, well, you know, you used to have a beard. I noticed you don't have the beard any longer. So I noticed that. Oh, great, you know. And so he was just like, yeah, the registration expired yesterday. I was like, what? Come on, man. And my other one had just expired a couple of weeks back with it, and I just got that paper or whatever. And I didn't even know that joker had expired, even though I should have known because I saw the renewal thing a month ago, a few weeks ago, but I forgot all about it and drove the joker. And then he said, hey, I'm just going to let you go with a warning. So what I'm saying is these things are not happening in my favor just for no reason. They're simply happening because he said, hey, you knuckle big eye boy, you are my son, and because you love me, I love you. I'm going to do this for you, and despite that you was wrong. See, knowing who he is allows you to be in the wrong position sometimes and still get a blessing. It's just better when you're in the right position to get the blessing. But sometimes, even in your wrong. So that means that should have been 2 tickets that I had that I didn't even occur. Why? Because I knew him. I visit him. It's more than a Sunday. It's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and God again, thank you for Sunday. Relationship with him. Now, here's the kicker. Not saying that we're perfect. Not saying that I'm perfect. Anybody's perfect. I'm just saying I simply identify knowing him makes it better for me. Knowing him makes it better for me. And what does that do? That eternally makes it better for those who are surrounded and attached to me. So simply to keep on dissecting it, my wife is more blessed because of my relationship with him.
Amen.
It does not mean that she doesn't have a relationship with him. It just means that it's something that's moving along beyond me to her just because I know who he is.
Amen.
Because we became one. So the one meant that I bless him, you got to get blessed too. So all we have to do today is just recognize that God, if I don't know who you are, starting today, I will make it my word. First, I will learn it. Second, I will speak it. Numbers 13:30 tells us that what? We have what it takes to overcome. So all you got to do is first read it, speak it, apply it, Everything takes time, but start learning who God is. If you just stand up, we're just going to pray out. So, now these three numbers up there, I just want to make sure everybody's aware that three numbers are up there for you to dial anytime. Anytime. Because one thing we have to realize is that just because we know God, it does not mean we don't need man. Right?
Amen.
That's why we assembly together, right? To encourage, to build one another. So if I know you, you know me, one of us should be able to pick the other up at some point in time. So what I'm simply saying, if you find yourself in that position, dial. You can doubt me last because I'm crazy, but dial me. I would love to talk to you. Just call whoever it is you need call. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we just thank you for allowing us to be here today, God. We just simply are praying for those who are deciding today to take the first step to learn truly who you are and why you really sent your son to die on the cross for us, even though you knew we was going to sin again and do the wrong things, God. We love you. We thank you for that, God. We pray, God, that you will continue to encourage those who need encouragement. Continue to give love to everybody that needs love, God. And we just thank you for who you are. In your name we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pastor, you closing out? That was just a close out prayer.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody. First of all, let me just say I thank everybody for all of your prayers and thinking about us as we go through prior to